I'm taking up the entire screen. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack still like Jackson, so this is coming from my little galley kitchen. So, I don't know if you've noticed, been losing weight, been working out and stuff. One of the things I've been doing some half-ass meal prep with this chicken and rice stuff. We've done different versions of chicken and rice already, but this one is the citrus dill stuff. It breaks down really well, and it works with all the different sauces, so you can make like 5 different flavored meals out of this. So before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe to all the YouTube-y stuff. Ring the little bell down in that corner. Get notifications. We do these Tuesdays and Fridays as close as possible as we can to Tuesdays and Friday. Also, there's a link down the doobly-doo for merch, which I'll put on before I finish the show. So let's just get into the food. I am ginormous in the screen. I think I'm zoomed in. I'm a monster. Alright, so it looks like a lot of stuff, but it's bare minimum. You're going to get you some chicken breasts. I got like 12 of them for like $10, so I put them out 2 at a time. So that's very cheap, easy. You can use any kind of cut of meat. I'm going to use rice. I'm going to use beef broth for the 2 cups of water for that to cup that down. And then half of a red onion here, or maybe like a quarter of it. Optional. I'm going to throw in a jalapeno, mostly because most meal prep stuff is bland as hell. So you're going to want some dill weed or some dried stuff. You can get some dried dill. That's fine. I use this stuff. You get it like fresh from like HEB or whatever. It's fresh 3 days ago, I swear. A tablespoon of ginger, some sesame seeds to dress it later, and then you're going to want some garlic because it's a recipe that I'm making, so it's going to have garlic in it. We're just going to use as much as the ancestor tells us to. We're going to need some citrus, lemon and lime. I like using both, and I'm going to use a lot of lemon juice in the cooking, but you can use lime on either one, or just lime or just lemon. It's completely up to you. You're going to want some oil. Olive oil works perfect. So does like vegetable oil, corn oil. That's fine. Just a little something to cook it, but I prefer sesame oil. Doesn't have to be the fancy white sesame oil or whatever, but it works. The rest of this is for how to dress it yourself, okay? That's all you need, all right? You can add salt and pepper. Yeah, it's up to you, but if you're really into the salt flavor stuff, you want to add either soy sauce or ponzu. I prefer ponzu most of the time because it's citrusy, but there's so much citrus in this, we really don't need it. You can go with the soy sauce. Now, the rest of this is how you want to dress it, make each day different, okay? Do a little teriyaki some days. This is one of my favorites, is hoisin with the lemongrass and chili in it. That's amazing. Gotta love the little bit of that. This stuff is my absolute favorite. It's peanut sauce. Like just a little bit of this will do you because it is not healthy. I'm trying to eat healthier, but it is so great. And then oyster sauce. A shout out to Ann and Andy, who absolutely love those on just about everything, so this works great. And if you're like me, hit it with some fish sauce. Now, better not take this to your office, better not eat it in public, and you better like the smell of catfish bait, but it tastes amazing. So first things first, we're going to start our 2 cups of beef broth over here to get warm up, start boiling. We're going to wash our vegetables and fruit here, and then peel and skin our onion half and our garlic. Now we got that done. Get us a nice sharp knife. Thanks you to Andy. Oh, wait. Let's see. Did this start boiling already? I turned that up really high. All right. So once you're 2 cups of water or 2 cups of broth, whatever, go ahead and throw in that 1 cup of rice. I mean, you can use your finger and all that kind of stuff, but that's just the easiest equation. I use a wooden spoon, kind of knock it all down in there, let that get warm, and then remove it from heat. And your rice will be ready by the time the rest of this stuff is done. Easy. So, red onion, we're going to take this. I'm going to slice it down into rings. So hold it by the big end, cut it down just once. I prefer rings to the big chunks, mostly just because it's an aesthetic thing. And I feel like it makes smaller bits of onion. Like the bigger pieces, you got giant chunks of it. Now, it might be more surface area where this has gone around big whatever, but it just aesthetically looks like there's less onion. Garlic, same thing. I'm using, what is that, 6 cloves. It's up to you. Again, just peel them until your ancestors say stop. And, put all your extras into some pickling stuff, and you can have some pickled garlic later as a snack, which works out really well. It's supposed to be like, what is it, like an antibiotic or something? Like, whatever. It's supposed to be really good for you. Whatever. But, be sure to just cut these down. You can get the pre-minced stuff. That's absolutely fine. I just throw this in here. I just like a lot of garlic in mine. If you don't want to do that much garlic, that's absolutely fine. You can always cut it down. A lot of this is optional. The fresh dill, you want to get like the long stems out. Don't want those in there. And then, some of the smaller, hardier, like woody looking branches, go ahead and pull those out. And then the rest of this, just chop it up. Or you can use a tablespoon of the dry stuff that's already made. That's fine. I never judge anybody for what you want to use. That's fine. The dill, again, it just makes it It's the flavor of the dill on chicken just always amazes me. Now, jalapeno, optional again if you're not going to use it, but sure to cut that top end off and then split it lengthways here. Then we're going to pull out all the veins and seeds, mostly just because they're super bitter. They're just ugh. So just go ahead, rip those out with your hand, but be sure to wash your hands before you touch your eyes, face, or private areas, because the capsaicin in that skin will set you on fire. So get those nice and skinned out, and then just cut them down. Just give them a nice slice. Don't have to be super minced up or whatever. That's fine. This gives you most of the taste of the jalapeno and most of the heat. There's some other ways to add it, with like the puree and stuff we've done, but it's just nice and fresh to put one jalapeno in here. Now your chicken, like I said, I'm using breast. You can use anything, just any kind of boneless chicken works really well. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down into smaller pieces. You can cut it lengthways, you get long pieces, cut it crossways, you get smaller cube pieces. These are so thick, I'm just going to go ahead and butterfly these open, which just means just run the blade right through the middle where you can lay them out. See, it looks like a meat butterfly. Kinda. More like a meat moth. I don't know. That's why they call it that. So I'm going to cut it crossways here to get me some smaller pieces instead of the long skinny pieces. Mostly because if they're small, I don't have to cut them up or worry about chewing them and have them hanging on my face and looking like a barbarian in front of my friends or just co-workers or strangers at the food court, whatever. So go ahead and cut these down into as small pieces as possible. Do both of them, both breasts. It's like I said, it's a pound and a half. Now wash your damn cutting board. It had raw chicken on it. Ugh. All right, so you got medium-sized skillet. You're going to put it on about medium high. I'm going to put this one at a 5 out of 9 that's on here. I wish it had a temperature gauge. I could tell you that instead of just the setting, but it's going to be medium. You don't want it too high because the meat will stick to that metal. All right, get you some of your pan lotion here. And just put in maybe a teaspoon and a half, maybe 2, depending on the size of the amount of chicken here. Like I said, I'm not even coating the whole bottom of this. Get that warm so you can tell it's nice and warm. You can see where there's bubbles kicking up around it. Remember, you want it to bubble, not spatter. If it's spattering everywhere, it's too high. So go ahead and throw in your onions, your garlic, and the jalapeno. I might have piled these up just because I didn't have a lot of space, but that's fine. We're just going to save the dill for later. So go ahead and put in your garlic and the jalapeno if you are using it. Like again, most of this is optional. If you want to throw in some other vegetables of other type, that's fine. So go ahead and throw those in there. Set your dill aside. The dill is so small and so like weighty, unweighty, I guess. It burns really easily, so you want to add that later. So go ahead and give these a nice stir fry in here. Knock the vegetables around until they're just starting to get glossy, like they're just starting to go a little limp. You don't want to overcook these because they're going to get bejeebles cooked out of them later. So you don't want to cook them down now and just disintegrate them into nothing later. So you get them where they're just starting to get done or just starting to get cooked a little bit, 2-3 minutes, and then go ahead and put in your meat. The chicken here, put that meat down on the metal. You want to spread that out. Don't let that piece of jalapeno escape. Just throw that back in there. Put the meat down, and we're going to start it. Once it gets mostly gray to brown on one side, before we flip it, we're going to add everything else, okay? So be sure to put this down here. Make sure it gets nice and pushed down on the meat, because if it's not on the skillet, it's harder to get cooked. All right, so push those vegetables aside. Still get the flavor, but you just don't want them underneath. So now you got them in here. There's a little bit of pink left here and there, but we're going to keep cooking it, so go ahead and add your dill now. And then you, because you don't want that to scorch, so you add it now. A teaspoon of ginger, just go ahead and sprinkle that in there. Again, that would stick to the skillet and scorch and smell funny, so you want to go ahead and add it later. Now your lemons and limes, I went ahead and cooked a couple of slices out of those. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull the full slices and put them in there to cook. And then a 1/4 cup of your lemon juice. Or lime juice, or whatever citrus juice. Man, I'd love to try this with pineapple. But go ahead and put that in there, and then give it a nice toss, nice stir. We'll get into that. Here we go. Just get your wooden spoon, because again, you don't want the ancestors coming out of the ground to get you without using a wooden or bamboo spoon. So give it a nice stir. Make sure all the chicken is cooked, starting to get a little brown on the edges, and then you're ready to do whatever with it. But you're going to need to keep stirring it, not constantly, but once you get it nice and tossed in there, because the meat will stay on one side, it won't cook the top, so you want to make sure it's turned. Once it gets all white and then starting to get brown, we're going to go ahead and make sure your rice is good, and then everything else is plating. Now you can get these plastic things, never mind the spray paint on it. I do a lot of priming and painting miniatures when I'm doing lunch, so that's why that looks like that. So the best way I've been able to do this is get rice. You just want to cover the bottom, right? You don't want to pile it up and have way too much rice. I put too much rice in this first one. You just want to put it in there where it covers the bottom, where you can't see the bottom easily. And then you want to do a couple of spoonfuls of this. Like I said, I don't weigh a lot of this. This is an official meal prep, I guess, as for the trademark of term. I just put a little bit in there. A handful. What you want to do is take your hand and put it over it, and if your fist can cover it, that should be good enough for a meal. So get that done, and then you can hit it with your soy sauce if you want the salt out of it or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and throw on my sesame seeds here, which always add to the flavor, which are really good. And then we're going to use a little bit of our hoisin on this one. Again, do not drown it. You don't want it swimming in this stuff, especially if you're trying to watch weight. This is how I've been kind of eating. Like, it's not an official diet. I'm just eating less and trying to be healthier about it. So give it a few splashes around in there, a mouthful. We'll get the taste in is what we're looking for. And then you're good. As long as you keep this covered in the fridge, like it should hold up for 2-3 days or 5 days of work or whatever. And you can try it. Like this one's got the peanut sauce on it. That one's got the oyster sauce. You try it with different stuff different days. So it's not just one meal that tastes the same. That's my biggest problem with meal prep is I can't eat the same thing every single freaking day. It drives me nuts. Now this, it's the same thing, but it's got different flavors because you can hit it with different sauces and stuff on top of it. So yeah, you can try this one out. It's a dish that we've tried before, but you can make it in different portions with some more stuff and add different sauces. So yeah, let me know what sauces you prefer. Fish sauce is absolutely one of my favorites, but I gotta go to the gym and I can't be smelling like that right now. So there you have it, folks. Different ways to do this. It's a simple meal prep. It's not super healthy, but it's a lot better than the stuff that I normally throw down my gob. So that's why I've lost 12 inches on my waist. Not necessarily any weight because I've been going to the gym. So that's a thing. So if you do it differently, you want to see me do it differently, let me know. Put it down in the comments. That's what they're there for. You can also find us on social media. Tell us how horrible we are over there at Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon, where all those live between Paychecks Kitchen. Also at Instagram at Live Between. We had to shorten it down over there. You can find me, Osprey Nerdy, on all those, including over on Twitter and TikTok. But I'm normally just talking nerd stuff, action figures, miniatures, D&D, LARPing, whatever. So fill me in. If we want to talk about cooking, we can do that too. So I will see y'all next time. Enjoy the food, and y'all please be safe, all right? Remember, it's hurricane season. I do a lot of search and rescue stuff on the side, so I'm just going to throw this in as a quick aside. Check your batteries, check your food, check your water, especially I'm down here on the Gulf Coast. So be safe, all right? We had some flooding in Houston just yesterday and today. Y'all be safe, all right?